And the Oscar goes to Parasite.
And as usual, the Oscars never fail to surprise us.
Absolutely. Every single year.
I don't think I've ever got Best Picture right. Not for at least 6-7 years, I don't think.
I can't remember the last time, if any, I've got Best Picture. It always does that.
There's been years where I've been quite happily surprised by what has won, but it's very rarely what I expect.
Well, I wasn't this year.
Yeah, no, that's true. What I think is the best this year maybe has gone and won, but it wasn't what I was expecting, so I just can't win.
No, I'm very dissatisfied. And I'm probably against everybody there. I think I'm against the millions.
Maybe.
Yeah, I'm on my own, I think, in this corner, but no, not very happy.
I'm on the fence. I'm happy with the winners, but I'm sad for what hasn't won at the same time. But we're going to spend this episode looking at the winners in all the categories, seeing how we did prediction-wise. And yeah.
Okay.
I think we should start at the bottom and work our way up then.
Go on then.
Live action short film. There was rumours that Brotherhood was the front runner, but more recently I've been listening to people saying that The Neighbour's Window might be liked more because it's a bit lighter.
Yep, and as per usual, I didn't go with that one. I went with Brotherhood and got that wrong.
I did originally have Brotherhood, but The Neighbour's Window live action short film. I do recommend it. I did quite enjoy it. And for animated short film, no surprise.
No, I got that one right, and it was my favourite actually, so I was quite pleased.
I did not enjoy it. I don't think it was the most technically demanding one.
No, but again, if they were going with that pattern of something lighter.
Yeah, so that's Hair Love. And then documentary short film. This seems to have been winning across the board, really, in any ceremonies that had this category. Learning to skateboard in a war zone if you're a girl.
Everybody seemed to erupt when that won.
Yeah.
They were very happy about that. So
a big name is supporting it behind the scenes somewhere.
Well, Tony Hawk was there.
Was he?
So maybe that was it.
National treasure. I guess that leads us into then documentary feature. And there was a bit of a competition here between American Factory and Fosama.
And obviously I didn't go with the correct one.
No, I think you went with the better film. But yeah, I just had this feeling American Factory, it appealed to the American public. It spoke to their industries and their economic situation and all that kind of stuff. And I think it was backed by the Obamas. I think they were somewhat involved.
Oh, well, if I'd have known that, then I would have gone with that one.
I thought I'd mentioned that. Yeah. I only know that because after watching it on Netflix, it then automatically played a 10-minute interview with the filmmakers and them.
All right.
So yeah, American Factory. I do recommend watching it. I really quite enjoyed it. You can take or leave those categories, really.
Yes.
But an iconic award to win is the Best Animated Feature. And it's hard to say whether this was a competition between 1 or 2 or 3.
Yeah.
Because so many different things had won up until this point.
Most of them did, to be honest. Most won at least one thing.
Yeah. So this ultimately went to Toy Story 4, following on from Toy Story 3. It has won again.
Yeah, I was disappointed with this because I had Toy Story 4 and changed it because somebody talked me into thinking that Klaus would win, and I went, "Oh yeah, I love Klaus." So I changed it.
No, I think you were pretty happy to change your.
Oh yes, because I loved Klaus, but yeah, I was disappointed not to get that one.
Yeah, of the riskier ones we did, I think that was maybe the one that would have turned out right. But yeah, I just didn't think they'd give it to Toy Story 4 again.
Neither did I. No risks really in that sense.
Not really. So sorry, Klaus. It wasn't to be this year.
Very, very disappointing.
Well, the Brits had the right idea.
We did.
So looking then at more sort of audio/sound categories, the original songs, we got a lovely performance of each one throughout the night. I have to say though, listening to some of them, I just thought, how are you there?
I'm going to be extremely honest with you. I didn't get to watch it live, so I skipped all of the performances apart from Elton John.
Fair enough. I mean, to be honest, it was the most lively. The other ones were just a bit naff.
Yeah, I saw the beginning of each one. I thought the Idina Menzel one was pretty good. And I liked that they had all of the different languages. I thought it was quite impressive. They'd gone out of the box with that one.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't think there was a standout song, to be honest. Even Elton John's, I think he won because he's Elton John and,
Yeah.
he's a huge icon. But I really don't think there was a standout song that was really amazing this year.
No. I think there was a bit of buzz at the end with Cynthia Erivo and the Harriet song. She did perform really well. It was actually quite good.
I'll take your word for it.
Yeah. They seemed to like her, so I thought maybe it could have done that. But no, ultimately, it was Elton John.
Yeah, it was nice. It was nice to see.
No surprises also. Original score. Joker.
That was lovely to see. Do you know, they
Mm,
really went mad for her, actually. I mean, she got a
yeah.
standing ovation and everything. I mean, they really went to town on that. People were
Mm,
thrilled with that one, which was
yeah.
really lovely because she was just taken aback, I think.
Yeah. She's very humbled by it all.
Mm,
Apparently, she's the first person from Iceland ever to win an Oscar.
mm.
Ever. So,
Wow. And she was the first female to win in the whole 23 years of the award,
amazing.
which was pretty good. That's a big first.
Yeah, another landmark.
And they also had the first female composer in the pit.
Yes, conducting, yeah.
She conducted all of the scores before they announced it, which I thought was another nice touch as well.
Of all the things that happened, that was one of the better things of the.
I feel like, though, that they shoehorn things like that in. I don't know if you felt that way. It's like, oh, well, look, we've got a woman doing this.
Mm,
Oh, we've got a black person doing that. And oh, we've got you know what I mean? I felt like all these things were shoehorned in as like, oh, look, we're
mm.
diverse and inclusive.
Yeah, be interesting to see whether it lasts
Yeah,
or whether it's just a one-off because it's part of the conversation this year.
yeah,
But no, I do see what you mean. It is steps forward, but I mean, it must be difficult for them as well to know the right or wrong way to make those changes.
yeah,
If it doesn't come across deliberate, will anyone take notice? I'm not sure.
yeah.
So yeah, Joker was the best original score winner, which meant Thomas
Hmm.
Newman has now had 15 nominations and no wins. Poor Thomas Newman.
Mm,
Oh, I like Thomas Newman. He's one of my favourites.
yes, he will get one.
Absolutely. Yeah, he'll get one in a couple of years.
Very deserving.
So the sound categories, we can probably talk about these together
Yes.
because there was a lot of conversation about whether this would go to the same film for editing and mixing. It has happened before in the past, and it's the perception that Academy voters don't really know the difference, so they tend to just go for the same film, but they have not. It went sound editing to Ford versus Ferrari
Mm-hmm.
and sound mixing to 1917. Not sure if it should have been that way round.
I don't know. When you actually listen to the clips that they put on, I felt like they'd got it right. I haven't seen Ford versus Ferrari, so I can't make a definitive opinion there.
It's not hard to imagine what it sounds like.
No.
It's
Car noises.
yeah, it's kind of like that, which made me think more mixing because it's like mixing lots of car sounds together.
Yeah.
Whereas I thought, 1917 with more sort of creation of sounds like
Yeah.
guns and explosions and planes, but nope, apparently not. So yeah, not only did they split it, but I think they also got it slightly mixed up. But Ford versus Ferrari got an award there.
Next year, hopefully, they will be going with just one sound award
Yeah,
overall.
I'm ready for that.
Yeah,
Yeah,
me
I
too.
get it wrong too often.
Yeah. I'm so ready to just have one.
So that's all of our sound categories. Should we go to more visual now?
Yes.
How about visual effects?
Yes, let's go for that.
It seems that 1917 was ultimately the favoured film here, so they haven't gone for technical innovation.
No.
Didn't go to Lion King ultimately, although I think it should have done, and not to Avengers, not to Star Wars, The Irishman. They went for the subtle, invisible style of 1917.
Yeah, I'm okay with that. I think it should have gone to The Lion King, but
Yeah, I watched 1917 again. The more I looked, I was kind of like, oh, hang on, yeah, those rats are probably CGI. Yeah, that smoke in the background's probably CGI. That bird's CGI. Those flies on the dead horse, that's CGI. And the more I looked at it, I thought, yeah, they've done quite well with visual effects to create realism.
PETA would have had something to do with it if they'd have blown up a rat.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now you put it that way. Yeah. Animal rights. And then how about editing? Because this was a category that really could have gone one of two ways.
Yes.
They went with the one with the most editing in it,
Yeah, looks like it.
which I'm fine with. Bohemian Rhapsody got that.
They go with the one that they can see the most in, and it's, oh, that's editing.
Yeah.
And that's what they've done here.
So Ford versus Ferrari's second award of the night.
Mm.
Not to Parasite, which is the cleanest, it's maybe the cleverest in terms of creating mood or creating atmosphere and suspense and all those things. But Ford vs Ferrari was, you can't disagree.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's got a lot of editing in there. Maybe took more work. And then in a similar vein, then no surprise, cinematography, Roger Deakins, 1917.
I think that was probably the most certain one of the entire night.
Yeah,
There was no way it was going anywhere
No.
else.
no. So yeah, how about then we look at more sort of production designy ones?
Mm-hmm.
Costume. We were tossing whether
Were we?
I was I don't know. Jojo Rabbit and Little Women were in competition here.
Yeah.
Thankfully, Little Women prevailed.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
actually got an award.
It got this award. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pleased.
Mhm.
And the winner did actually do a lovely shout out to Greta Gerwig,
Yeah, she did.
which was nice to see.
Yeah. I think she did the costumes for 1917 as well.
Did she?
So that might have
Oh.
helped her, maybe. And then another one that was not unexpected, Bombshell, makeup and hairstyling.
Oh yeah, again that was probably a dead cert as well.
Yeah, it's won everything up until now.
And Charlize Theron got a lovely shout out as well in that she was close to tears by the looks.
Yeah, because she produced the film as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it seems that no amount of contouring that Angelina Jolie can do will steal that award away from Bombshell.
No, no, absolutely not.
And then I think that just leaves us with production design for the more visual ones.
Mm-hmm.
This could have gone a few ways. Unfortunately, it didn't go to 1917, which I do still believe would be the most deserving.
Yeah, somebody talked me out of that one as well.
You said I put together a convincing argument and you were persuaded.
I did, but you were wrong, and now I'm annoyed because I've got less points, and more importantly, I've got less points than you.
I'm sure in the past I've gone with your choices and we've been wrong, so...
Yes, most likely.
Ultimately, though, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood wasn't really a surprise.
Yeah.
So, well done them. But nothing really for Tarantino. But we won't spoil that.
No.
Looking at writing then, writing and scripts and screenplays, we changed both of these in the last couple of weeks, didn't we?
I know I definitely changed adapted for certain.
Yeah, we had Little Women as hopefully the winner.
Yeah, I think I changed original as well, actually.
Yeah,
I think I had it for Tarantino at first.
same. Jojo Rabbit and Parasite. We got 2 for 2 there.
We did.
But then it's no surprise whatsoever, as we've said before, acting categories 4 for 4.
Oh, yeah, across the board, yeah, which is very boring.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone gave lovely speeches.
Well, all but one.
I think it was okay.
Did like Joaquin Phoenix's speech. It's literally, I knew as soon as he got up on the stage, and I just saw his face, and I was like, "Oh, right, come on then, what are you gonna say?"
I think what he's got to say is really important, really.
But why, when you've won an award?
Yeah.
It's not appropriate. It's
know.
not the time or place. Go and do that somewhere else.
He doesn't want to take credit for himself, I don't think. He doesn't seem the kind of person to want to gloat about himself.
I just don't think it's the time or place to do it. Do it in a press conference afterwards.
Yeah.
Don't do it on stage for 5 minutes in front of everybody and make people feel like they're not doing enough. And yeah, he should have stuck with something very small, gratified, and the thing that he said from River Phoenix at the end when he got very choked up, I'm not going to say lovely, but it was emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah, he should have just stuck with that because I was just like, oh, he's going on and on and on.
Yeah, I see what you mean. I think sometimes showing gratitude as opposed to using it as a political platform is probably wise.
Yeah.
Someone who didn't really do that, Renée Zellweger.
No, she didn't.
Yeah, I really like her.
Yeah, I do.
When you see the clips of all the different films, you sort of go, she's really embodied that.
Oh, she did. She really did. I'm not going to say I'm an expert or anything, but I wrote my dissertation on Judy Garland for my undergrad. So I watched an awful lot of her at that time, and she just gets the movement, the way she stood, the way she held herself, just all of that. She really absolutely got it to a T. So, I mean,
Yeah.
if you put it that way, yeah, very deserving.
Speaking of deserved,
Or not.
Brad Pitt and Laura Dern, again, winners here. Both gave great speeches. I really like them as people, but
Yeah,
again, I just can't escape that feeling that this just wasn't meant to be.
their award.
No.
No.
If it was Tom Hanks and Margot Robbie or Florence Pugh, I would have been happier.
Yeah, I would have liked a little bit of a surprise there,
Yeah.
to be honest.
Thought maybe they could have done it, but
Yeah,
no, maybe next
obviously
year.
not. They're too well liked.
Yeah, that's true. So just before we get on to the 2 biggest awards of the night, which include Best Picture, we should probably talk about the international feature film, and there's a reason we have left this one till now, because
Yeah.
obviously, the winner was Parasite,
Mhm.
and that was expected.
Yes, it was. It
Um,
was.
and usually in a category like this,
Mhm.
a lot of voters would say, well, we've given it this award now. There's no real need to consider it for other big awards.
Absolutely. Happened to Roma.
Exactly, it did.
Mhm.
And with it being a foreign language film, well, they've never in the past given it much higher honours than that.
Mhm.
So while that's not a surprise, when we then look at the Best Director category, which we thought was a lock, and I think a lot of people thought was a lock for Sam Mendes,
Mhm.
no,
No.
surprise, Bong Joon-ho,
Yeah.
which I was like, what?
We'll may as well lead on to it. They also got Best Picture.
They did, yeah,
So they got Best Film twice, and they got Best Director.
yeah, and the screenplay.
Did they like that film?
Yeah, it went that way that we had talked about it, all in Parasite's favour, and it kind of did. And I
Yeah.
really like Parasite. It's higher for me on my list of best films so far this year,
Mm,
above 1917, because I struggled to find any flaws in it. When we reviewed the films the other week, I could nitpick at 1917. You know, there's some casting choices, some of the
mm,
scripting and dialogue choices, even some of the visual effects and cinematography choices. Actually, I could find some flaws in, but Parasite I couldn't. So I can't say that I'm not happy for Parasite,
mm.
but we got it wrong.
Yeah, we did get it wrong. I don't like getting it wrong.
Mm-mm.
I disagree. I
Mm,
don't think it was deserving of both. I definitely think it was hands down the best international feature.
mm,
Um, but I don't think it was deserving of the director award. I think what Sam Mendes did to put together 1917, I think was much more deserved. And I also think that Parasite, in terms of an actual film, yes, it feels original and fresh and things like that, but I don't think it tops 1917 for what it actually produced.
Okay, yeah. I agree with you on director. I think Sam Mendes must have had to step out of his role as director
Hmm.
so much more to sort of influence the other departments. Not that Bong Joon-ho
Yeah,
didn't do an all-round great job of everything else, but
yeah, but practically to actually
yeah,
create that.
it's outstanding achievement in directing, not just
Yeah.
directing. And I think that's maybe where a director like Sam Mendes has obviously really gone out and done something.
I was disappointed, very, very
Mm,
disappointed because he should have won that one. I mean, he's got one.
yeah,
He's got an Oscar. It's not like he hasn't got one, but
yeah.
he should have had that in the bag. Again, for me, Parasite wasn't high up on my list. I find it a very cold film. Not something I can relate very much to.
Mm,
I've really struggled to get on board with it. That's on me. That's
mm.
me personally. So yeah, if I was very dissatisfied.
I think it's very similar to the film Us in many ways.
Possibly,
Kind of
yeah.
horror-ish in places, plays on class and metaphors and symbols. So I'm surprised that you didn't like it as much as you did, but maybe you just enjoyed Us so much to choose a crowd.
I don't know. Again, I was ever so slightly underwhelmed by that as well. I think I'm becoming a cynic, Matt.
Yeah.
Very, very hard to please at the
Yeah.
moment. Really hard to please.
But that does mean though that when something does come along and you absolutely do love it, at least you'll know you're sure.
Yeah, yeah, that's the positive
But
side of it. Yeah.
so looking at how many awards each thing won,
Hmm.
most things just 2 or 1 or none,
Mm,
because The Irishman went on to win nothing.
yeah, nothing.
That's the 4th film ever to have 10 nominations and win nothing. But Parasite, a bit like Bohemian Rhapsody last year, it won the evening really. It won 4 awards.
Hmm. Which doesn't seem a lot, but when you think of what
Yeah,
it won the big ones really,
yeah, it did.
and the others didn't win enough to be significant.
No, 1917 was the next one up. It won 3,
Hmm.
but nothing really above the technical awards, which is it is disappointing.
Yeah,
Um,
very.
so although at the end of the day it was a close race, it was going to be one or the other that peaked.
Mhm.
Yeah, it all went to Parasite, and that concludes 6, 7, 8 months of debate and thinking and predicting.
Mm. I have one question for you then, Matt.
Okay.
What was your moment of the night? What was your favourite moment, your standout?
Ooh. Recently, there's not been many standout moments, I don't think, in any of the ceremonies
No.
we've had. I liked some of the presenters, Kristen Wiig and Maya Rudolph. They're always funny. They're a good pairing.
Yeah.
They're like Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. You can't really go wrong with them.
What happened to Diane Keaton?
I think Diane
What on
Keaton
earth
is
was
on drugs.
that? I would not be surprised after last night. There's something not right about the woman. Honest to God, I thought like she didn't really know what she was doing there.
Yeah.
She was just talking utter rubbish.
Mm. Yeah. I was disappointed as well to find out that we weren't going to be played the new Bond song. Yeah, she did the In Memoriam section instead.
Yeah,
But
she
and
did.
to be honest, like hearing her sing again, every time I do hear her sing, I'm quite excited to see what they're going to come up with for a Bond song because I think she has got quite an interesting voice, and I think it could lend itself well to the right song. I think we're going to get it in the next week or so. I think it's going to come out very soon.
Probably.
Yeah.
It won't be long now.
But yeah, no real standouts. I'm not going to lie to you.
No, I didn't have any standouts really.
No.
I was overall disappointed.
Yeah, I'm getting used to getting ready to be disappointed though.
Yeah.
So, how well did we do predicting? I know you're not happy with me on a few of these.
You were too persuasive, and I'm blaming you entirely for my score because I could have got 3 more, I'm convinced.
I talked you out of The Lion King though.
You did, which gave me an extra one, so maybe 2 then.
It evened out. The two that I convinced you out of, you could have got back from listening to me.
Yes. Okay, I'll give you that one. So I got 17 out of 24, which is not bad. That's
No.
not bad. That's 7 wrong.
Last year we got like 13, 14.
Yes, I think it was.
I did get 19, but like I said, that's only because of where we went different on the.
The documentary one.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
went with the crowd, but I think the choices you put in were just as deserving. It's one of those, not necessarily the best films are winning, especially in those lower level categories. Congratulations on your loss. You're still yet to beat me.
I got 1 win this year. The Golden Globes was my win.
That's true. Yeah.
And I'm gonna hold that
Yeah.
very dear
You
because I never
you
win.
do.
So I'm going to cherish that one.
Yeah. And we can breathe now and like watch other films.
Yes.
I'm so excited.
Ah,
I guess as usual, before we leave today, we should recommend a film.
yes. Okay.
After you.
Well, I'm in keeping with last week's because I've been on a bit of a true crime kind of obsession, actually. I can't get away from it. Cold cases and all this stuff. So, anyway, I watched Zodiac again, which I haven't watched for a long while, but I've just found fascinating. And the whole tone of it, it's David Fincher, who obviously is
He's great.
well known for having a tone and being very technically precise, I would say.
Yeah.
And Zodiac's very much one of those. Maybe not his most exceptional. So I would say that's probably 7.
Yeah.
But it definitely goes down the same line in terms of tone.
Mhm.
It's got a great cast, and it's basically, just to give a bit of a premise in case anybody doesn't know, the Zodiac killer was a serial killer in late 1960s, 1970s in San Francisco, but a cartoonist for one of the newspapers that received letters from the killer gets obsessed with it, and he eventually wrote a book, and it follows him. Jake Gyllenhaal plays him very well as well, and I mean, Jake Gyllenhaal's pretty much great in everything, isn't he? But it's just a fascinating film to watch, especially when you know that it's all true.
It's one of those again, isn't it? You just can't believe it happened. It's almost mythical, isn't it? That it's that kind of thing.
Absolutely.
If I was a serial killer, I'd like to think that I'd be able to come up with those great ideas of
No, I don't think I'd make a very good serial killer. I'm not smart enough to get away with it, I don't think. Which is a good thing, I suppose. You can all sleep easy.
I guess so.
That I'm just not intelligent enough to go around killing people.
Oh dear. I'm just all over the place.
Yeah. So, what is your recommended film this week?
One that took me by surprise because other than getting a nomination this year, it wasn't being talked about. There's a film called Corpus Christi.
Oh, right.
To sum it up, there's a 20-year-old man who's in a juvenile detention centre. It's basically jail. It seems like he's had a little bit of a spiritual awakening. So when he is released early on parole, he's sent to go and work at a sawmill across Poland. I should say it's a Polish film. But when he gets there, he goes directly to the church and he puts on the dog collar, and due to some circumstances he actually ends up becoming the priest for this small village community where there's been some sort of tragedy in the past. So very unconventional, because he is very young and he has more sort of radical methods of doing things. Bearing in mind he's not an ordained priest. He is an ex-convict, which actually forbids him from becoming a priest. But at the same time, the reason that he was in prison in the first place is something that starts to catch up with him. So while he's trying to repair this community, he's got these demons that are following him and threatening to expose him in this new life that he's having. Really took me by surprise. Really well made.
Wow.
That's called Corpus Christi.
Okay.
Another great subtitled film. So there you go.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so should we end it there then? Where can they find us, Matt?
Oh, testing me. We're on Facebook and YouTube, Cine Chat Podcast. We're on Twitter at Cine Chat Pod. We can find us on Instagram, Cine Chat Official, as well as YouTube. You can listen on iTunes and Spotify.
And they can email us at cinechatofficial@gmail.com.
Yes, we always are open to ideas for future podcast episodes. So get them in, but we won't say anything for now. Let's keep things a secret.
Hush, hush.
You'll find out. But yeah, I imagine we'll talk a lot more about what 2020 has to offer very soon. So thank you very much for listening.
We can move on.
Exactly. Yeah, it's nice now. I'm ready to spread my wings a bit more. Both putting together a calendar now in terms of what new things we want to watch or what old things we want to watch. I know you were, and I've copied. But in the meantime, happy award season.
Happy award season.
Well done, Parasite. That's all from me.
Yeah, and it's bye for me.
Good day.